Hello. So let's talk stories. And in this episode, I'll be talking about my five favorite books of this year 2023. So let's get started. And to start with, the first, this list is in no particular order. And again, and to start with, let's yeah. This list is in no particular order. The first book I'll be talking about today is, it's not exactly one single book. It's a trilogy by Mr. Fredrick Backman. It's the Beartown trilogy. So it consists of three books. It starts with this book called Beartown, and Us Against You, and The Winners. These are the three books that this trilogy has. Now, the first book was also made into a HBO series, and I personally feel that um, the story of Beartown should be spread wide across the world for as many, for it to be accessible to as many people as possible. And this is an outstanding literary achievement, outstanding achievement in storytelling. And I'll just start with how the first book sets up the story. Now, the first book of the trilogy starts with a setup of how the identity of a small suburban town of Beartown depends on their love and their relationship uh, towards the game of ice hockey, and their town's ice hockey team. Now, as the story progresses and as the narrative explores the town's affection towards the game of ice hockey, and how the relationship, how on what are the key, how, and how the town responds to a game of ice hockey is a fantastic sight to read in these books. And when as the story progresses, when the team enters into a semi-final, the an extremely cruel crime will be committed by a member of that ice hockey team on a young woman. So when I say ice hockey team, all the team consists of very young players of 15, 16 years of age. Now, the crime, this crime that was committed on a young girl. So this incident spirals uh, into this incident creates a ripple effect in the lives of all the people of the town, and all the people related to the involved parties. And also, this incident affects the lives of all the people who love the game to their heart. Now, this incident is just the beginning of what unfolds in that book, in the first book, and also in the next subsequent books. Now, this is just a one-line summary of what probably, I mean, this is a mammoth of a storyline, because it spans over three extremely compelling books. I don't anything. So this the narrative arc of the Beartown is such is a is a mammoth in its own sense, that it talks about so many things. It talks about a town's love for its game. It talks about how a close relationship between two friends evolves when when there comes a conflict between them. Now, how and how a young woman deals with a heinous crime that is committed onto her, and how she bounces back to get back to her life. Right now, there are multiple reasons why this trilogy hits a home run. One of the main reasons is its characters, and the characters are so well developed, and you don't see any cliched character arc, and you don't see any cliched scenes that are there in the book. And the narrative also deals with extremely complicated aspects of anyone's life, any person's life, such as friendship. Like the core of its narrative is a friendship, like a friendship between childhood friends, a friendship between teammates, a friendship between friendship among the people who belong to the same team, friendship between two people who were enemies once, friendship between people who become saviors of the other person. Now it also deals with an aspect of identity crisis as well. So the identity crisis it especially deals with identity crisis in times of when you lost that anchor, right? That core anchor to your life. And when you lose that anchor, you spiral into an identity crisis in your life. Now this book is expertly deals with that identity crisis. Now it also deals with unspoken dreams of an young woman who for multiple reasons who shies away from expressing her dreams, right? And it also deals with unconditional parental love. And there are like dozens of interesting things that this book deals with, and every complicated relationship that this book deals with will come to a will come to a fantastic fruition at the end of the series. And and to s- when you read certain instances, when you read certain incidents, and they'll you I mean, I promise you that you might not have read those relationship arcs. You might not have read those interpretations of life's relationship anywhere else. And I think to sum up the Beartown trilogy is it's a treasure trove for any reader. And I guarantee you that you'll laugh, you'll cry your hearts out, and you cheer for the characters. And I think and what else is there to indicate that a book is really good. And I would really recommend this to in any book lover. And the second book I'll be talking about today is The Lincoln Highway. It's by Mr. Amor Towles. And the first thing I would want to say about this book is I don't have words to explain how much I just love and adore this book. And I've read this twice already, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to read many more times in the future. And what a book! The book actually starts with an young boy named Emmett Watson, who returns home from a juvenile prison. I think he's a teen guy. He's around 17 years of age, and his family includes his young brother Billy Watson, and his mother who ran away when brothers were kids, and the father who was recently deceased. So Emmett decides to sell all his material possessions and decides to go to Texas to do some business. Now, but his brother Billy convinces him to instead go to California to meet their mother. Billy gets this information from Billy gets this information as Billy gets this information of where their mother was from a series of postcards that their mother has sent long back. Okay, the older brother Emmett Watson agrees to this and decides to go to California. But when they decide to go to California, two of Emmett's prison mates, who escaped from the prison the day before, meets both of the brothers at their home. And the four of them just decide to embark on this journey to California across the Lincoln Highway. That's why the title, The Lincoln Highway. Now, saying anything more will be a spoiler. Will be saying anything more saying anything will cause will affect your reading experience of this book, because you just want to kiss the characters. You just want to cuddle them. They're so precious. Precious. And the literature of Mr. Amor Towles is heavenly. And there are some scenes in the book where after you read them, you just want to close the book and stare at the blank sky for indefinite amount of time, right? And I would definitely say that the this is the best adventure book that I've read in the past, in the recent past. And the complicated characters of the four leads, I mean, they're all the characters seem to be straightforward, all the characters seem to have one single motto. But as you travel with the book, as you travel with the characters, each layer of the character gets unfolded, and there the character arcs of these four characters would just haunt you after you're done with the book. And there are these small characters in the book where you would actually want to get the spin-off of those books. For example, the 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 dear neighbor of Billy Watson, the young girl who has affectionate feelings for Emmett, and who takes care of Billy like a son, and who who makes Emmett's bed, who cooks for him, and he she just pours out the affection for, not just for Emmett, for everyone. That's how her nature is. And one of the character where, Billy and Emmett meets on a train, and the character has some mythological references to the character. And when Billy meets his idol, when Billy meets his favorite writer, and the conversation that plays out is just out of the world. And you could just the Billy character is just a soul of the book, and I would definitely want to know what happened to the Billy character as he grew up. And I think I would recommend this book to anyone who craves for a literary high, because I know that the feeling that you get when you read a really good book is really rare. And this is one of those books that would definitely give you that literary high, and I would strongly recommend this. And the third book I'll be talking about today is Anxious People by Mr. Fredrick Backman. This is the second Fredrick Backman book I'll be talking about in the list. And the way that I describe this book to anyone is, this is the best anti-anxiety pill that you would need. You would actually need. From the premise, it looks like an hostage drama, and boy oh boy, I think it's far away from a hostage drama. And Mr. Bachman is actually extremely good in exploring complicated relationships. For example, he does the same thing in Beartown as well, and he also does the same thing with much more finesse here. So, for example, the relationship between an aging police officer and his son, who is also a police officer, and who both of them views the world, both of them observes the world through their own tainted lenses. And what happens when when their version of the world collides, and how do they resolve their conflicts. And anything I just and anything I spill out is going to be a spoiler, because you would, like, there are certain narratives where you will be surprised to see the turn the narrative takes, right? So for example, in this Anxious People, so there is an ensemble of characters at the center of the narrative, where you would think all of these characters are part of a hostage drama. But as the narrative unfolds and you come to the core of the conflict, core of the narrative, you just can't restrict yourself from just standing up and clapping for the finesse of the writer, and for the sheer brilliance of pulling out a different angle to this hostage drama, and for exposing what human beings are capable of, for exposing what human beings are what human beings can do when put in a tough situations. Now that's actually a fantastic thread that Mr. Bachman wove throughout the book. And I think only one thing that I would say is just pick up this damn thing and read it. I would highly recommend this. Next two books are non-fiction books. I deliberately wanted to add two non-fiction books in the list, and I'll just sum it up very quickly. Those two books. One of them is Pandeymonium by Mr. Piyush Pandey. So this is a marketing masterpiece by one of India's creative person, and this actually explores the nuts and bolts of India's advertising market and how a country as diverse as India can be reached with one single message with because when a country as diverse as India should be exposed when you try to send out a message to a country as diverse as India, you would you would need to craft a message so clever that it hits the bullseye for everyone, every one of those every one of the people. Now, the reason I loved this book so much was the anecdotes that are there in the book, because there are so many anecdotes sprinkled all throughout the book, which includes which legendary Indian character, legendary Indian people like Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, and and all these stories that are sprinkled throughout the book actually took me back to my childhood days, where when my consumption habits were impacted by the products that are explained in the book, and how what is the story behind the product, and how on that actually made me a little bit nostalgic. Now it's not a it's not an academic book per se, but it's an extremely joyful read. You would get sneaks, you get sneak peeks into the author's life, and how and what is the and how Mr. Piyush Pandey took references from his life way back and when he was a child to whip out fantastic advertising pieces that captivated the entire nation of a billion people. Now I think it's an extremely joyful read, and you would also learn a thing or two about the consumption of bad habits of Indian people. And I think if you're into if you're like if you want to have a light read to learn something about learn something about just life, I think this is a fantastic book to pick up, and I would highly recommend this. Now, the final book is one of my favorites of this year, The Boys. It's a memoir by Ron and Clint Howard. So I've spoken about this book in a great length, and I've linked this. I'll add this link here uh, for my bigger review. Now, the way I would want to sum up this book is it's an extremely intimate, joyful, and uh, joyful read about uh, two child actors, how about two child actors and their ascent to stardom, and probably ascent to stardom of one brother, and probably ascent and the descent of the other brother. Now, and you would this book has everything that you need, everything that makes a good story. It has fantastic narrative. It has excruciatingly captivating incidents. Like, there are some incidents which happens in the sets of Star Wars. There are some incidents which happen in the set of making uh, mm, Ron Howard's first directorial, and there are instances where you would hear interaction between Clint Howard and Mr. Walt Disney himself. And there are and most importantly, you would hear first hand accounts of these Hollywood people. And this book actually reminded me one important thing, that you don't see you can't become a superstar just by the luck of it. For you to become a superstar and for you to stay there long, you should have some kind of sizzle in you that makes you stand out, that makes you have a different view of the world. And I think that's actually the case for anything. Like, that's actually the case in any profession, right? To become a master in any profession, you can't just view the world as it is. You need to have your own spin on the world. Now, that's pretty much evident in this book as well, and that the core of it is a father son's relationship that hits you so hard. And I would strongly, very strongly recommend, if you are into you're someone who likes, this biographical works of artists, or just what happens in a show world, what happens in a showbiz and all this, what happens what happens in an environment where there are egos at play. And yeah, all this, I mean, what happens when a person with extreme passion takes a u-turn and wants to do something different, what runs in their mind, and all these things. There are narrative, there are stories, there are anecdotes, which there are anecdotes in this book where at at one point or the other you will feel connected to the anecdotes. And I think I would strongly, very strongly recommend anyone, to pick this up and read it. I think that's it for my top five books. And if you, and please, in the comment section down below, you can list, what's the best book that you've read in the past year. Thanks.